Welcome to your Recovery Day stretch session. This practice is great for any time throughout your cycle when you are looking to support recovery. So we have a lot of static stretching, some dynamic mobility drills, all from a very grounded seated position. So it's not going to be taxing on your nervous system or your body. You can show up any day. This is a great one to show up for if you've had disrupted sleep. This, I know for me, happens toward the end of the cycle as my period approaches, or anytime you have those life stressors that come into play. Maybe you are fighting off illness, but you still want to show up for your practice and for yourself. So this is a great way to support your body through that recovery process. It's also one that you can use between more vigorous strength sessions so that you're really allowing yourself that process of recovery that is so important for the results that you're working so hard for. So I encourage you in this practice to invest the same amount of intention, of presence that you do in your sweaty workouts. Invest that same quality, that same care in your recovery. I guarantee that you will feel the benefits in your progress, in your results when you really commit and invest in your recovery. So again, you can use this practice anytime. It's a great one for either first thing in the morning if you're kind of waking up a sleepy body, and it's a great one to help you relax at the end of the day, to sort of help melt away any tension that may have accumulated throughout your day. All you will need is a comfortable place to move around. You can use a workout mat or even just be on a carpet or a rug. You might also enjoy having a cushion or a rolled up blanket to sit on if you find that your sitting bones get a little sore or if it's hard for you to get that upright position when you are seated. So let's go ahead and get into this stretch session. We'll begin our stretch session today in a comfortable seated position. So, whatever that looks like for you, you might have your legs crossed, you might have your legs outstretched. If you need to, for your sitting bones, you might have a rolled up blanket or a towel underneath, maybe even a cushion, or you might be sitting on a comfortable, cozy surface, just something to improve your comfort level during this session. And once you get to that comfortable seat, you might close your eyes for a moment. Allow your presence to arrive fully. I want you to devote the same level of effort and care into this recovery practice as you might into a more vigorous workout. So that means your mind and body are integrated. You have focus and intention. And we connect to the breath. So we'll start there. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. And resist the urge to force or change the breath to be a certain way. Just allow it to flow freely in and out. And before we begin, just scan from head to toe. Look for any areas that might need extra attention. The areas that feel tight, maybe a bit tired, even sore. And then if your eyes are closed, gently blink them open. With a big inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Interlace the fingers behind your head. Press your head into your hands. Press the elbows open. And can you inflate the upper ribs while drawing the low ribs in? So we're really focusing on the thoracic spine, the upper middle back here. So again, softening the shoulders down, pressing head into hands. And then we'll connect movement to breath. As you inhale, broaden the elbows a little bit wider. And then on the exhale, without changing much in the spine, just start to bring the elbows in, draw the chin to the chest. Stretch the trapezius, the neck. Inhale, re-extend, lift up through the back of the heart. And as you exhale, close, round in. Twice more like that. Inhale, open. See if you can find more length in the neck here. Exhale, close. Last one, big inhale. Keep the spine nice and lifted. And as you exhale, close. On your next inhale, come back open. And then we'll take the right hand down. The left hand stays behind the head. Find a side bend. Keep that top elbow opening. You might even rotate the upper back a little bit so that you can gaze toward the sky. So stretching side body here and also opening the chest by pressing head into hands and allowing that elbow to open. Come back up through center. Replace your right hand behind your head. Take your left hand out to the side. And once again, press that elbow open. Feel the expansion in both sides of the waist, so avoid compressing the left side here. Keep it spacious. And then as you come up, we'll take the right hand, start to crawl the right fingertips down your back. Turn the left thumb down, bend that elbow, and then start to crawl those fingertips up the back. So we're aiming to clasp fingers if that's available for you. Otherwise, just working in that direction so you feel the stretch in the tricep and the shoulder. So we've got external rotation of the upper shoulder. We have internal rotation of the lower shoulder. Keep pressing the upper back into the hands here and hug the elbows to the midline, especially that top elbow. It might want to wing out. Stay in the stretch by hugging it in. Then we'll switch sides here. So take your left arm up, bend that elbow. You might shake it out a little bit if you have some sensation, some residual sensation from that stretch. And then crawl the left fingertips down the middle back, turn your right thumb down, bend that elbow. So now on the other side here, we have external rotation in the upper shoulder. Once again, internal rotation in the bottom shoulder. Hug the elbows to the midline. Try to avoid any side bending in the spine. So we're staying nice and upright. Low ribs, front ribs pull in. Last breath here. And slowly release. Take your hands behind you. You can shake that out if you need to. If you feel any, you can sort of feel the blood rushing back into the shoulders now. We'll press the hands behind you, lift up through the heart, big heart opener here. And for this one, if it feels okay, you can take the head back. Feel that stretch across the front of the neck, and the muscles that connect collarbone to the jaw to the head. Can often get tight. And then slowly come up, walk the hands forward, forward fold. You can pillow your head on your hands. And then in your own way, start to come back up to your seated position. From here, we'll take the left leg out long, and I want you to sort of square the body over that left leg. So that left leg is reaching long, and you've got your shoulders square. And then we're going to keep working with this thoracic spine opener. So we'll take the left hand behind the head. You can let your right hand rest on your right knee. And as you inhale, I want you to just gently twist open to the left. And then as you exhale, cross the body to the opposite knee. Inhale, open, press head into hands, slight counter twist, and then exhale around, elbow to knee. Take a few more rounds like this, just kind of working that independence of the ribs to move freely from the pelvis. So the pelvis more fixed in this position, and we're rotating the rib cage. So such beautiful range of motion that's available when we allow these two core elements to move more independently. And the next time that you are upright, hold there. And you can keep your hand on your head. Let's bring the right hand to join it. Take a big inhale breath. Feel that inflating of the upper ribs. And then as you exhale, fold over that left leg. Reach as far forward as you can, like you're trying to connect your sternum to your big toe. And then release the hands here. We'll stay in this stretch for about 30 to 60 seconds, enough to sort of elicit the relaxation response in the back of the leg. And to facilitate that, to sort of encourage that relaxation response, can you flex your left quad by pressing the back of the knee down into the ground? Curl your toes back toward your shin. You might play with the position of your foot, turning it out or in. And all the while breathing here. So as you move through static stretching, the breath helps to send the signal to the body that all is safe and secure, that it's okay to allow the muscles to stretch, not beyond their limits, but enough to provide a little bit of recovery. We'll be here just a few breaths more if you can. Deepen a little bit. So on the inhales, we take in that breath, and then on the exhale, move a little deeper. And we'll slowly start to walk it back up. Let your body recalibrate, sort of return to your muscles, return to their normal length after the stretch. Then we're going to take that right foot, cross it over the left knee, coming into a deeper twist now. So we inhale with the left arm, stretch up tall through both sides of the waist, and then as you exhale, twist. So a couple of options here. You can take the elbow to the outside as I am, or you can wrap the arm around that right leg. Either way, we're trying to create that traction in the outer hip. If you have the elbow hooked, you can bring hands to heart and get a little bit of a chest and upper back stretch as well. Start to refine the stretch by pressing down through the right foot, so really anchor that foot and make sure that your left leg is staying in that proper alignment. So it's straight up and down with the knees and toes. You can press your right hand a little more firmly into the left, maybe gaze over right shoulder. Feel that nice length across the outer hip. Draw the belly in, rotate your left low ribs to the opposite side. And notice, even with the compression, can you inflate your breath here? Then we will slowly release the twist. So arms first, and then legs. We're going to bend the left knee underneath, cross your right ankle over top. Coming into a seated pigeon pose. This might be a lot already. You can stay right here in this seated position if you wish, just kind of gently rocking side to side. So adding a little bit of pulsation to that deep stretch sensation. If you want to add a little bit more and get, again, some stretch in the upper back, you can take your left hand behind you. This time, right arm reaches overhead. And we'll take the elbow to the sole of the foot, or even upper arm, as far as you can get without having to round. So I want you to really keep the spine lifted. Then you're going to press your arm into your foot into your arm, and find this rotation. You might even make a peaceful fist with the bottom hand if you need to. Notice if your shoulders are shrugging, can you soften them down away from the ears? So here, continue moving the spine toward that upright position. Last big breath. Or maybe two if you feel you want to stay here for a bit longer. And then we'll come back through center here. We'll turn into this zigzag shape. So your right knee out in front, your left knee behind. And we'll start to take the right hand down, right forearm down to the mat. So you're sort of in this side lying position, but you have that left knee bent behind you. If knee flexion is causing any discomfort, you can always relax the angle of the bend in your left knee. Otherwise, you're hugging that heel as close as you can to your sitting bone without letting the inner knee pop up. So the inner knee presses down. Then I want you to stretch the body in the opposite direction. So away from that left inner knee. You can take the left arm, sweep it overhead, maybe support the head so that you can relax, or you can even gaze down, let the head hang heavy. Then I want you to really stretch that upper body away from the inner left knee until you feel the hip flexor complex, the quadriceps lengthen. So keep anchoring the inner knee down. And here, to create that relaxation response in the front of the leg, tone your left glute. So like you're trying to squeeze your left glute, maybe even curl the tail slightly under until you feel that strong sensation, that strong stretch in the front of the thigh, or in the front of the hip, excuse me. And here, just breathe and kind of move around until you feel that stretch where you need it most. And then we'll slowly start to come up. From here, windshield wiper your knees side to side. That internal, external rotation, just oscillating here. And then we'll enjoy that same sequence of stretches on the other side. So as you're ready, arranging the legs so that your right leg is outstretched, left knee is bent. And again, we're going to square the body over that right leg. You can let your left hand rest on your left knee, bring your right hand behind your head. Give a gentle twist to the right, maybe press with that left hand into the left knee to open. And then exhale, round under, knee to opposite elbow. Again, try to avoid shrugging in the shoulders or crunching into the side waist. Keep everything nice and spacious as you work through this dynamic stretch in the upper back. You might even feel it a little bit in that extended right leg. Let's get 2 more here. Inhale and exhale. Last one, big breath. And exhale. Come up through center. Keep that hand where it is. Let your left hand join. So really inflate the upper ribs, upper back. And then again, imagine you're stretching the very center of your chest toward your big toe without curling the neck up or down. Keep it nice and neutral. And then you can release the hands, come into that deep hamstring stretch. So we'll have the same kind of refinements on this side where we are pressing the back of that right knee down to engage the quadricep and relax the hamstring. Breathe in. And as you exhale, go a little deeper. Again, breathe in and exhale. I love this type of recovery practice for when I really want to honor the rest day, but I still want to show up for practice. It's a way to help with consistency, with adherence to that practice you've committed to. So it won't tax your nervous system, won't tax your body. And if anything, it can support your recovery. So it can help your recovery improve between your more vigorous training sessions. Let's enjoy one more big breath. And then slowly come up. Cross your left foot to the outside of right knee. Take your left hand behind you, stretch right arm overhead. Again, keep the shoulders directly over the hips during this twist, either hugging now as you twist that left leg or hooking the right elbow to the outside. Wrap the right low ribs underneath you. Press your left hand into your right. Find that twist here. Really anchor the left foot into the mat and keep your right leg nice and straight, so knees and toes facing upward. Notice the shoulders. Can you relax them away from the ears? Maybe gaze over that left shoulder. Again, breathe into the compression that you feel in the twist. So can you inflate the lungs even in the presence of that pressure? You'll feel that internal stretch in the spine and the rib cage as you inhale. And then nice and slowly we'll come out of the twist here. Start to bend your right knee, come into seated pigeon. So again, just kind of evaluating along the way. This might be plenty for you. You might even have to step the foot a little bit further out to get that more upright spine. So the priority here, I want to be shoulders over hips so that you're not leaning back. And if you find that as you step your foot in, you have to lean back, just keep it a little bit less of a bend in that extended leg. Otherwise, we're lifting up here. And again, you can stay. If you'd like to add the twist for a little deeper sensation, you're going to take your right hand behind you, left arm stretches overhead. Then we bring that upper arm or the elbow to the foot. We press arm into foot, foot into arm. Feel that nice stretch across the upper back. And at the same time, across the outer left hip, you might have to adjust kind of the position of the pelvis until you feel that nice stretch that we're looking for. We'll be here a breath or two more. And slowly release that twist. We'll take the shape of the legs over to the left. So you have left knee in front, the right knee is bending back behind you. So I want you to anchor the inner right knee to the mat first. So that's our stable starting point. And then we're going to lean and stretch away from that point as you take the left forearm down. Again, you can reach overhead, maybe cradle the back of the head or let the head hang heavy. Then just explore with that sensation. So what happens when you push more firmly into the inner knee and then elongate, stretch, radiate away from that point, trying to create this arc until you feel the sensation in the hip flexors and quadriceps. Once you find that body position, you're in the right place, then we refine even further. So we start to squeeze that left glute to signal the relaxation response in the front of the leg, the front of the hip. Our hip flexors do so much for us during the day or as we walk, as we run, as we move around. And so they often need both a little bit of length and a little bit of strength. So here we're focusing on that elongation. They do tend to be chronically tight. So we're kind of countering, providing some balance there. Last big breath here. Come up through center. Windshield wiper your knees once again. And then we'll start to parallel the feet and take your hands so that your fingers are facing out. So heels of the hands are in, fingers are out. I want you to bring the hands as close together behind you as is comfortable without puffing the low ribs so that you feel that stretch across the collarbones and the inner shoulder. And then we're going to press through the heels of the hands, curl gently with the tail, and lift the hips up. You might have to walk your feet out a little bit so that ankles are under the knees. And for this one, I recommend keeping the chin pulled into that neutral position, but if it feels okay and you're not shrugging the shoulders, you can take the head back. Whatever feels best in your practice. I know for me, sometimes just the neutral cervical spine feels better here. Press down through the heels of the hands. Feel that stretch across the chest. And then we'll slowly lower down. Keep a generous bend in the knees. I want you to cross the arms, so cross at the lower arms and reach for opposite feet. So heart, belly, chest come toward the thighs. I want you to stretch the heart forward first. And imagine like you're tilting the pelvis forward. So you're moving the navel toward the pubic bone toward the back of your mat. And then from here, you can start to round any amount in the upper back using that traction by pulling on the feet and pushing the feet into the hands. So I really want you to feel that stretch across the shoulder blades. Then you can uncross the arms here. Enjoy just a generous forward bend. You can even start to work the legs in the direction of straight if that feels good. Again, working to refine by engaging the quadricep, pressing the backs of the knees down, and keeping the spine nice and neutral. So releasing that excessive round in the upper back and instead kind of finding that forward tilt in the pelvis. Then we'll slowly come back up to a seat. This time, turn your fingers to point towards the back of your mat. The thumb turns out. So we have external rotation in the shoulders. And here, you're simply going to walk back until you feel the sensation that's appropriate for you in your shoulders. I want you to keep lifting through the chest, pressing down through the heels of the hands and the finger pads. So you feel this nice, spacious quality across the chest. This is, again, a common imbalance that can occur where the chest is chronically tight. And we maybe have strength gaps in the upper back, which can result in more of a rounded posture. So the more that we can elongate the chest in stretches like this one and strengthen the back, the more we can kind of improve those muscle imbalances. Last big breath here. You might start to feel a little bit of that circulation change and then start to walk up. You feel the blood rush back into the limbs. So now we're going to roll onto the right side. You can bend your knees nice and deeply, and I want you to take your hands out in front of you. Press the palms together. Bring your knees up to about hip height, so there is a generous bend there. And then we're simply going to open that left arm out to the side, keep your legs heavy, and then try to anchor the shoulders onto the mat. So this supine twist can be very soothing for the low back. And I love this way of entering the posture because it allows the legs to stay pretty heavy so they don't try to come along for the ride, and you get more of that stretch in the upper back as well. Breathing here. This is a great stretch to enjoy before bed. It can help release some of the spinal tension that accumulates throughout the day. Then we're going to come back into that side lying position. We'll keep the legs as they are. We'll start to turn the torso toward the mat. So this one can be a little bit intense, so just take it as it comes and pause whenever you need to. Maybe you take an exit ramp. So we're turning the torso now square to the mat. Legs are staying in that twist. And you're going to take your left ear to the mat as you open your shoulders either to that cactus shape or to a T. So I'm going to take my right ear to the shoulder just to preserve the sound quality in the mic. But if it's available to you, you have that left shoulder to the mat. You're feeling that stretch in the chest and the neck. And this downward facing twist, an incredibly grounding posture. I want you to really feel the floor underneath you, especially under the torso. Enjoy 3 to 5 more very deep breaths here. So this, again, a very relaxing posture. We're belly down, close to the earth. So this makes this a great stretch sequence for end of day, but can also be a great way to start on your rest days. I'm practicing in the morning today. So it just feels like a little bit of soothing for tired muscles, no matter when you practice. As you're ready, we're going to slowly press up onto the hands and transition to tabletop. So hands and knees here. Shoulders are over the wrists, hips are over the knees. Cat and cow spine now. As you inhale, stretch the spine, gaze up. And exhale, round in, curl the tail, chin to chest. Inhale, reverse that from the tailbone first. Shine the sitting bones back. Lots of space in the shoulders. Exhale, round. Inhale, open it back up. And exhale. Stay with that spinal wave, or you can even add some side movement, side to side. If you'd like to make it a little bit bigger, we're going to go all the way back to child's pose. So let the hips touch the heels and then come forward. Let the hips hang heavy, almost like upward dog. I'm breaking one of my rules here for upward dog, letting the knees stay grounded and then really pressing into the hands, stretching across the chest. Even if your knees are down, I want you to activate the legs to create length in the lower back. So that's our new kind of progression for the spinal wave, child's pose, to that suspension in the hips, that back bend at the top. So you exhale, coming through child's, and inhale, forward to upward dog. Last one like this, and coming through. Find yourself back in tabletop once again. We're going to come into that downward facing twist on the other side. So take your knees to the right, bring your left hip to the mat. So you have knees pointing straight to the right, you have your left hip down. Then we're going to square the chest and shoulders, come down either cactus in the arms or out to T. You have your right ear to the mat. Downward facing twist once again here, breathing nice and easy. Feel the way your lungs inflate against the floor. And just notice any change you feel from one side to the other. Maybe a little bit more sensation in the hips on one side. Just acknowledge what that might be telling you about the way you move, the way you hold your body. Allow it to be that spirit of curiosity, not judging one side as good or bad. We'll be here just a couple more breaths. As you're ready, we're going to keep the knees as they are. We're going to come up just enough on the hands to thread your left arm under you. So you're back in that side lying position. You can reach both arms out in front. Keep your legs as they are. Simply open that right arm out to the side. So supine twist now on the other side, letting the legs stay very heavy. Don't sweat it if your knees aren't stacked. They might just slide apart slightly. That's okay. You want to really focus on keeping the shoulders down, especially that right shoulder. And breathe. As we move into this supine portion of the practice, if you wish, you can keep the eyes closed and really start to become introspective. So kind of examining the sensation from the inside out, listening for anything that arises, be it physical energy or mental energy. Feel that nice stretch across the outer hips here. We'll be here another breath or two more. And then we'll slowly start to turn all the way onto the back now. Let your knees knock in. Take your feet the width of the mat. Then we'll reach the arms straight up. I want you to turn your right palm away from you so you get internal rotation of that shoulder. And then wrap that arm under, bring your forearm under your hips. So you have this kind of grounded position in that arm. You can let your left arm rest beside you and then take your left ear toward your left shoulder. You can shake your head yes and no. Just find the place where you feel that stretch across the front of the neck. You might even use your left hand to anchor the collarbones down as you move the head away. This is a great one if you spend a lot of time driving or at a desk, or even if you've had some pretty intense upper body days where you're feeling a little bit of that tightness or tenderness in the neck and shoulders. I want you to return your head back to the center, release and free your right arm, cross it over to the left side, and then use your left arm to stretch the tricep here. So just that little bit of a hug. Keep the shoulders relaxed as always, away from the ears. See if you can anchor your right shoulder blade to the mat and feel that stretch across the outer right arm. Keep your right arm crossed here and then just start to find eagle arms. So wrap forearms, wrists, and hands. And if you can, take your arms up and down. Maybe you find a position where the stretch feels really good and pause there. Last couple of breaths and eagle arms here. And then you can unwrap the arms, reach them straight overhead. Turn your left palm to face away from you now. And then wrap that left arm underneath you, under your hips or your low back. And take your right hand, right arm beside you, and right ear to the right shoulder. Again, you can shake the head yes and no. Maybe use that right hand to press down just below the collarbones to get a little more traction. And so, what you want to feel in your recovery sessions is not that you've kind of stretched to your limit or that you've been wrung out, but just that kind of softening of any muscle tension, any muscle soreness, and that you feel a little bit more at ease. Free your left arm as you're ready, cross the body, tricep stretch. Again, keep the left shoulder blade rooting down into the mat. And nice and easy, we'll transition to eagle arms on this side, wrapping the elbows, forearms, wrists, and hands. And once again, see if you can broaden across the shoulder blades so the inner shoulder is moving away from each other. Creates this loop, this circuit that we kind of then feel that boundary that allows for a deeper stretch. You can floss the arms up and down. And then slowly release the arms. As you're ready, hug your knees into your chest. One final stretch to close out this practice. Happy baby. Take your knees out wide, reach for the inner or outer edges of the feet. Definitely feeling this one today. This is great for the inner thighs, the hips. Imagine like you're trying to take the top of your thighs onto the mat beside your ribs on either side. You can roll from one side to the other. And really draw those feet down as you flex the foot. It's a great supine stretch for hip opening, especially if you have any knee tenderness where flexion or lunging positions are not the most comfortable. This is a great way to still get deep into the hips. Release the legs when you're ready, maybe circle the knees. And then we'll slowly rock along the length of the spine, nice and easy until you find yourself once again in that comfortable seat. So as you take a few moments here at the end of our practice, find yourself once again with the eyes closed, lifting up through the heart, and allow yourself to scan for any energetic shifts, anywhere that you feel that change. Know that you are supporting your recovery, especially when you invest in it the same way that you do your sweat sessions. So giving equal weight to your rest and recovery practices. And when you're ready, let's take a huge breath together. Inhale, reach. Exhale, sigh it out. That is your recovery session for today. Thank you so much for showing up on your rest days, for staying consistent, for staying committed, and for letting your body be moved.